Let's talk about the three major ingredients that make up narcissistic and antagonistic personalities. This is not a recipe anyone wants, yet it is a recipe many people are forced to live with every single day. These three core components show up again and again in people who are chronically difficult, manipulative, or emotionally unsafe. Before I walk through them, you can even pause this video for a moment and write down what you think the three biggest traits are, either in your notes or in the comments, and compare your lived experience with what the research consistently shows. So, the three main ingredients, or repeating patterns, are: Number 1, a lack of empathy, a genuine disinterest in the emotional world of others. Most people guess this correctly. It's the most obvious marker. Number 2, hostility toward others, which usually shows up as stubbornness, defiance, persistent disagreement, resistance to reasonable requests, suspicion, and constant mistrust. Number 3, manipulation and arrogance, used as tools to gain social power, advantage, or dominance, often through deception or calculated flattery. This simplified three-part model comes from well-established research on antagonism. Many personality scientists, including Costa and McCree, have described these patterns. I came across this particular framing in a chapter by MacDonald and Verona, in an excellent volume edited by Miller and Lynam. And yes, I cite the work because credit matters, and because grounding this discussion in science helps explain why some people behave so destructively in relationships. I also drew insights from a 2021 paper by Ju. All of this research converges on the same conclusion. These are the defining ingredients. Some theorists expand the list to 5 ingredients: low empathy, immorality, which includes manipulation, distrust, combativeness, and arrogance. In truth, it's just a more detailed version of the same model. I prefer the simplicity of 3 because they capture the essence clearly. And understanding how these 3 traits interact inside a narcissistic person can help you understand why you feel trauma-bonded or trapped in a cycle that makes no sense. Why do narcissistic people not care about your feelings? There is biological research that sheds light on this. Many studies suggest that individuals high in psychopathic or narcissistic traits struggle to process emotional cues coming from the world around them. They don't feel fear strongly, and they don't easily recognize fear or distress in others. Because they don't internally register these emotions, they have no instinct to respond to or repair them. It's not just that they won't empathize, it's that they often can't. There is a brain network called the salience network, which helps us decide what matters both internally and externally. It helps us shift between paying attention to our inner state and responding to the outside world. In narcissistic individuals, especially when they perceive a threat, and by threat, I don't mean physical danger but things like criticism, disagreement, or exclusion, the salience network pushes them inward. Their own ego becomes the only thing that matters. And the person on the other side of them experiences that shift as coldness, self-absorption, and emotional indifference. Now let's look at the second ingredient: oppositionality, aggression, and distrust. This is confusing because narcissistic people get furious when you don't trust them, yet they themselves do not trust you. Their equation is completely lopsided. Here, where biology gets fascinating. People with severe narcissistic or psychopathic traits often have low baseline arousal. They appear calm, steady, collected. But they also have a highly sensitive stress response that activates intensely and uncontrollably. Their internal regulation system is fragile. This creates a strange recipe. Low awareness of emotional cues. In others, right arrow, low empathy. But extreme sensitivity to any perceived threat, right arrow, reactivity and rage. So what does this mean in real life? It means narcissistic or antagonistic people remain oblivious to your anxiety or fear, yet their own alarm system is set off by even the mildest ego threat. That's why the relationship feels like a seesaw, calm one moment, then suddenly explosive, unpredictable, or frightening. And once they escalate, they struggle to come back down. Now we add the third ingredient: manipulation and arrogance. This ties into the narcissistic person's sense of self. Psychology describes 2 forms of self-esteem: Explicit self-esteem, how someone presents themselves to the world. Confident, charming, composed, charismatic. Implicit self-esteem, how they privately feel about themselves internally. Among narcissistic people who voluntarily enter therapy, which usually happens only when their lives have collapsed, we often do not see high self-esteem at all. But among narcissistic people in the general population who are not in treatment, we frequently see the split. Grand external confidence covering deeply fragile internal self-worth. When life breaks the mask, this disconnect becomes visible. What we consistently observe in antagonistic personalities is low sensitivity to other people's emotional states, heightened sensitivity to anything affecting the self, a motivation for social dominance, and a reliance on strategic, calculated decision-making rather than emotional processing. For them, every interaction is a transaction. They evaluate what they can extract from it: admiration, compliance, resources, attention, rather than responding to the relationship emotionally. They can even appear caring or attentive when they want something. But this is not warmth based in connection or empathy. It's a tactical move. If flattery, kindness, or charm gets them what they want, they will use it. The internal mechanism that normally stops people from exploiting others, that sense of "this is wrong, don't do this," is not functioning in the same way for them. Their nervous system reacts only when something impacts them. If something affects you, and it has no relevance to their needs or status, they feel nothing. No emotional ripple, no internal activation. This is why it feels like the two of you are living two completely different relationships. Because neurologically, you actually are.